Hey guys, my name's Mike. Thank you so much for coming out to support David's old school idea of real storytelling. This story is called Highway to Hell. The first time I ever. Is this too loud? You feel good? Okay, cool. The first time I ever saw it, I was walking into the church cafeteria at Brightwood Christian Academy. It was a beautiful spring day in Brown Summit, North Carolina, 1982. Just me and my crew, Teddy, Jeff, and Steve. We were on our way to lunch, and as we turned the corner, there it was. Taped to the cinder block wall above a poster that said, "Rock music is Satan's music. Bring your records to the bonfire this Saturday night and celebrate Jesus through the burning of this forsaken trash." I was 12 years old, a seventh grader. I have to admit that as I stared into the devil eyes of Angus Young, that's that guy if you don't know, the hideous face with the snarled, toothy grin, the devil horns, and devil tail in his hand, I thought our headmaster, the Reverend Charles J. Anderson, warped soul that he was, might be onto something. This band looked terrifying. Oh, and the title of the album really bolstered CJ's argument, too. That's what our little band of misfits nicknamed the Good Reverend. It was, after all, called Highway to Hell. It's right there, Highway to Hell. So, I'm going to put this right here so you can just focus on that. Hopefully. So, to his credit, if I was ever going to advertise an album burning of devil music, I could think of no better album to promote it. It was a real home run. I remember very clearly joking this whole bonfire concept with the guys as we choked down our microwave personal pepperoni pizzas. The ones that are wrapped in that clear plastic that's so thin you just know most of it burned right into the food. Why the fuck would anyone in their right mind burn their record collection? I mean, whoever the handmaids were that would follow through with such insanity didn't have any real rock records to burn in the first place, right? We were sure about that. And yet, as we watched these pitiful nerds bring in box after box of music for the rest of the week, they proudly stacked them in the hallway near the poster, hoping people would see what committed Christians they had become. I might add that the week prior to this, our special guest speaker at chapel was the Reverend Hank Howbolt, a superstar on the evangelical circuit, a real piece of work, and a specialist in uncovering the hidden meaning of the rock music that we loved by playing it backwards. Most of the kids in chapel gasped when they heard these spooky revelations, but the fellas and I just thought it was super cool and kind of ironic that when he played Another One Bites the Dust backwards, it sounded like a really quaaluded out ghost on Scooby-Doo saying it's fun to smoke marijuana. At some point during the week, Teddy, the idea guy in our gang, suggested that we steal the records. Maybe there was some really good shit in there. At least it was worth a look. So as the official squad leader of special ops like this one, I assigned myself the always important but somewhat less dangerous role of lookout patrol. I'd watch for the eyes while Teddy rifled through as many boxes as he could. But we wouldn't have much time. The eyes were always around, watching. We'd have to get in and get out. 30 seconds tops. Teddy came back with devastating news. Some of these freaks actually had great taste in music. We ran out the double doors into the gravel parking lot to safety, and Teddy was fired up. He's like, "Dude, there's a ton of killer shit in there." Now, I know Teddy knows what he's talking about when he says killer shit, because his dad was in a rock band, so Teddy knows everything about music. I spent most of my junior high years at his house, and that's where I discovered what really good music and a really good turntable and speakers are all about. I will always be grateful to Teddy and his family for this. My folks weren't into burning albums. I thank my higher power that our family must have missed church the day that Kool-Aid was passed around. But I wasn't allowed to listen to rock music at home, that's for sure. So I surrounded myself with hard-hearted, worldly preteens like Teddy Bear Keaton, who had done some time in public school gen pop before being sentenced to life in the Christian academy. McCall, I saw Sabbath, Pink Floyd, Rush, the Stones, and the fucking Beatles. The fucking Beatles. Fuck. It was hard enough for me to hear this, but for Teddy, the realization that such amazing, life-altering, and sought-after vinyl was going to go up in flames Saturday night while people cheered, well, it was more than he could take. But we agreed that smuggling the contraband out of the church and getting it to Teddy's house would be impossible. There would be far too many questions when his mom came to pick us up at carpool, and too many vigilant eyes watching our every move. We knew that we had to pick our battles in this place, and this was one we could never win. Teddy, Jeff, and Steve didn't have to attend the burning. They would never. But my dad was the vice principal, and my mom was a very popular and committed teacher at the school. I knew where I'd be Saturday night. I remember watching in disbelief as my Christ-crazed schoolmates tossed albums or whole boxes of them onto that roaring blaze and saying to myself, someday, I'm going to own every last one of those records and none of you motherfuckers will ever get near them. If you've ever been to my house, you know that I made good on that promise. It was the biggest fire I'd ever seen. I remember the heat and the crackling of the wood. I was nauseous from the stench of burning vinyl and the satisfied glow I saw in Reverend C.J. Anderson's face through the funeral pyre and the billowing smoke. Talk about terrifying. He made Angus Young look innocent by comparison. Fuck the highway. I was already in hell.